The contract situation with New Japan is always questionable at best. It seems like every year they have a lot of contention with the contracts and a lot of people worried about their favorite wrestlers leaving New Japan. This year is no different, and there's a lot of names on the block to either stay or leave New Japan in the coming months. One of the big ones that just left was Evil. Now, Evil, I thought would be at the top of the card most of the year this year. He had a really good year in 2024 with almost winning the G1, and House of Torture seemed to be stronger than ever. He had an incredible match with Aaron Wolf at Wrestle Kingdom 20. I didn't think they were going to pass the ace torch down to him for sure, but he's been a mainstay on that roster for a long time, and him just up and leaving like that is kind of crazy, especially if you're a New Japan faithful. There was no inkling of Evil leaving before this. There might have been a few hints here and there, but nothing serious. And then all of a sudden, one day he's gone, which leaves a lot of questions for House of Torture. Leaves a lot of questions for who is going to be the new top heel in the company, because it was arguably Evil. There was nobody that was really doing it like he was. He had an entire crew pretty much just doing his bidding and following his word. It leaves a big open space for the top heel in New Japan. Ren Narita, a great option. Sanada, if he comes back, but we're going to talk about Sanada in a little bit. Doki, I could see Doki being pushed up to lead House of Torture if House of Torture stays around. We could see a collapse of House of Torture because of this. Who knows? They've been pushing United Empire recently as maybe the next top heel faction. It seems like they still have a few things they need to work out with leadership, but I am very excited about United Empire. I think they're going to have an incredible year this year. A little off from what we were talking about, but big fan of Jake Lee. Hanari's back. Great Khan is looking as good as ever. Callum Newman is an interesting story right now with Will Ospreay, even though that's not being fleshed out week to week. We will see a payoff for that eventually. And Andrade was one of my favorite wrestlers. Him joining United Empire is crazy. I'm very excited for the future for them. But back to Evil. Gone from New Japan is seemingly signing with WWE, though it hasn't been confirmed. There's no 100% behind that. Fightful is reporting that he's in talks with WWE. So who knows what could be happening in the near future. But the question is, what does WWE get out of Evil? I think Evil is incredible. He's a great wrestler. You know, you could have your thoughts and feelings about him and House of Torture, but he is an incredible wrestler. He trained Aaron Wolf for their match. Aaron Wolf looked like a beast, and he's trained a lot of the young lions. So it's a huge loss for New Japan, but I'm not really sure what WWE really gains out of it. They're going to get a really good worker, that's for sure, but they've also just stifled every single incredible worker from New Japan that they've had in the past, i.e., an example, Shinsuke Nakamura. He's had some really, really good runs, but it's never been a consistent good thing, which sucks. I love Shinsuke Nakamura. I have a feeling Evil is going to fall into that same trap, unfortunately. But we do know for a fact he's not going to AEW because Tony Khan has reportedly not been a fan of Evil's work. So I think wherever he lands is going to be in a really good spot with him if they can utilize him properly. But I fear that WWE will not be able to utilize him properly just because they're WWE. Another big name is Gabe Kidd. Now, Gabe Kidd is rumored to be in talks with WWE. There's nothing official, but it could happen. But more than likely, Gabe Kidd will end up with a New Japan AEW dual contract. He's been working with AEW. For him to make a jump to WWE would be kind of crazy after all year last year trying to be Mr. New Japan and then just up and leaving the company after all that hard work to prove that he is the top gaijin in New Japan. But I think he's staying. I don't think he will leave unless WWE shills out $1 million, which I doubt they will for Gabe Kidd. I think he's a really good wrestler for sure. Worth $1 million, maybe not, but he is going to be a great talent for anybody who can sign him. I do believe he'll be an AEW and New Japan guy, just like Takeshita with AEW, New Japan, and DDT. The really wild one, which I guess isn't really wild, but one that was almost confirmed by a recent merger of groups is David Finlay. And David Finlay has had interest from WWE for a long time. His father works there, his brother works there, and Uriah Connors. It makes a lot of sense. It's no shocker, really. But the real shocker behind all of that is most of of the Bullet Club War Dogs, their contracts were up at the same time. Now, I'm pretty sure we're going to get David Finlay in WWE. And unfortunately, I do believe he will debut on NXT on a main roster contract like they've been doing with a handful of people. Do I think that's the right decision? No, not at all. He's been at the top of the card for one of the top companies in the world for a little while now. To send him down to NXT is crazy, but NXT is desperate for good men's talents right now. They have almost nothing down the pipeline, with Obafemi being called up and Trick Williams being called up, and there's no telling how long Ricky Saints and Ethan Page will be staying down there as well. Their situation is pretty dire in NXT. Now, they have a handful of guys I really like, but for the most part, they really need a boost in male talent, and David Finlay would offer that. Along with Evil, I don't know if Evil debuts in NXT, but it probably more than likely will be debuting in NXT, unfortunately. Two other names, though, attached with David Finlay are Clark Connors and Drilla Moloney. Now, Drilla Moloney, there wasn't a lot of news. A lot of people just said he was going to stay. He and Shingo have had a great run as a tag team together. They actually just got a shirt recently. He posted a picture of himself on Instagram with the WWE NXT UK background from what his time there, which a lot of people forget about. He might be making the jump, which would be shocking to me. I honestly thought he was poised to stay in New Japan. I thought he had a lot to do there, especially after jumping up to the heavyweight division. He's an incredible talent. I was hoping New Japan would be able to retain him, but it kind of looks like he might not be staying around. And Clark Connors, Clark Connors hasn't made a lot of waves in the news because he hasn't really made a lot of waves with the Bullet Club as of late. I think he's still a really good wrestler, but he's not a top name associated with the Bullet Club. But I think if he leaves New Japan, which is a strong possibility, I think he lands in AEW. He's got that relationship with Tekla. She signed with AEW and is having a great run with the Triangle of Madness. So we could see Clark Connors, probably not in the Triangle of Madness, since that's a women's group right now, and it wouldn't make sense to add a fourth person to a triangle. But I do believe Clark Connors will make the jump to AEW if he decides to leave. I think there's a world if David Finlay signs with WWE as well as Drilla Moloney, we will see Clark Connors make that jump to WWE as well. But that's contingent on two other people. WWE has also been very interested in the Bullet Club name for a long time now, so they may end up being able to capitalize on New Japan not using the Bullet Club and a lot of their most recent iterations members not re-signing with New Japan. And last but not least, Sanada. Now, we have no idea about the contract status of Sanada. I've been looking for it all morning, and all I can tell is he has just taken a leave of absence. Whether that be his contract was up and he's trying to renegotiate, or he just needed a break. He's worked a lot this year. Some people just need a little breather. They never announced if he was injured, so I doubt that that's the case, but he just kind of disappeared. There's been no word on Sanada since he left, so who knows what could happen with Sanada. Will he leave New Japan? Possibly. Do I think he will? No. I think he's poised to take the next top heel spot, barring he stays. I'm very interested to see how all this works out with Sanada. I'm very optimistic about the future for New Japan, but these contract situations every year really, really make me less optimistic. I don't understand what New Japan is doing with these and why they can't retain this talent that they spent so much time building. It almost feels like they expect 100% loyalty when there are other people out there paying much, much better for this talent. Hopefully they can figure it out soon. I don't really know what they're going to do in the future. Hopefully they can figure out a way to mitigate this. I assumed a lot of contracts were kind of brushed under the rug until after the Tanahashi retirement, and they wanted to not necessarily get that out of the way, but spend time and focus on that because that's such a special thing for somebody who is very special to the company. But who knows? I guess we'll just have to see what the future holds for New Japan. And that's about it for this one. Make sure to check out my new podcast starting Sunday called The Emerald Arc. We will be covering all of Pro Wrestling Noah. I've got some fun ideas for it, but for the first week, we will be starting with the Junior Tag Tournament, which I think is very exciting. So hopefully I'll see you there for that, as well as on Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I have a podcast with my friend Max over with Body Slam called Tour of Japan, where we talk about New Japan, we talk about Noah, we talk about Stardom, we talk about Marigold, talk about a lot of news, some match results, things of that nature. So if that interests you, go check that out. Also, go check out my boy Don Lucha and his channel. I've been participating on a trivia game that he hosts called Luchamania. Been a lot of fun. Make sure to go check that out, and I'll have all these linked down below. So if you're interested in any of them, go ahead and go find the links. They shouldn't be that hard to find. That is all for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.